that Bryan appeared to have been a fan of me, and he said he liked my SafeMoon investigation, but didn't like the fact that I was now investigating him. But these dodges aren't going to work.
You know what's interesting is I kind of feel sometimes like a lot of these crypto scammers, they work in the same way that like serial killers do, and that they can't resist like just flirting with the police and sending them one too many secret notes, and then all going back to the crime scene and then showing up there and then being like, "Who are you, sir?" It's like, "Oh, I'm nobody." You know, things like that. Like, why are you reaching out to the person notorious on the internet for calling out scams in the cryptocurrency world if you yourself are involved in a cryptocurrency scam that could wind you up in prison? Like, why would you be like, "Hey, just want to reach out to you to say that, wink, I know what you know."
Check out one of the dumbest scams ever. And no. Applause. It didn't exactly take a genius to figure out. They advertise a 383,000% return per year. They call themselves Safuu, as in your money is safe, and if you ask how, F you. On their website, they say if you deposit $1,000, you could earn $3.8 million by the end of the year. That is, if everything goes according to plan. Anyways, normally I would kind of avoid talking about stuff like this because this kind of scheme is beneath most people's IQ. But that all changed for a couple of reasons. One, the project has a market cap of $100 million, so there are a lot of investors. Two,
Every time we watch one of these things, like the urge to scam Bitcoin pros rises to unconscionable levels. Like the amount of good lefties could do with $111 million. Holy fuck, the amount of sustainable housing that could be built with that. God damn it.
I talked to one of these investors who I first knew through SafeMoon, and now he works as an admin for Safuu. And when talking to him, he said something that concerned me and convinced me that I needed to investigate this. See if you could spot it.
Can I ask, are you planning on making a video? Because like, I would appreciate it if you would like let it play out.
What if letting it play out is...
Why are you talking to CoffeeZilla? Are you trying to get ahead of the like the scam, the rug pull? Are you like, well, I mean, we have a rug. I'm just not gonna pull it yet, if you know what I mean. Please don't talk about this.
Everyone getting rugged. What do you think about that?
That would be pretty damn unfortunate. Yeah, and I totally agree with that. But that's not the plan here.
Now, this is the mother of all red flags. Let it play out.
Also, why did he... I don't get why he called CoffeeZilla. That doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. It's like calling the cops and asking them not to investigate you. Yeah. Hey, officer. So you may have heard about a certain lab that I have in my basement that may have a certain smell coming from it that may produce a certain kind of, let's just say it rhymes with fleff. And so like, I'm just saying that like, maybe just let this one play out, you know, just like, don't come over and don't like shut it. Just let it play out. Cause you know, who knows what it could be.
Sort of the rallying cry for Theranos, Nikola, and every scammer ever. And this is what changed my casual interest in this Ponzi coin into a...
Yeah, just ignore the purchase history you may see on my credit card for like 500 boxes of Sudafed. Like, that it's not related. And again, let it play out. Just let it play out.
Full-blown investigation. So without further ado, let's investigate Safuu. To understand Safuu, you first must understand the founder. He's a man named Bryan.
All right, how do we make our customers believe that this coin is safe and will never, ever lose them money on their investment? But what do we put the word safe in it? Okay, brilliant. But we can't just call it safe, all right? That's already taken. So we need something else. How about Safuu?
Legend, which sort of sounds like the name of a bad WrestleMania villain, but is actually Bryan's second last name. He changed it after being accused of multiple scams, the most notable ones Fitrova, Tagz Exchange, and Clever DeFi. In each case, he's managed to convince people to give him lots of money, many people lose their money, and Bryan scurries off to his next project, the most recent being Safuu. Now, Bryan is a humble man, so he doesn't like the term serial scammer and much prefers low-key titles like legend, visionary, entrepreneur, influencer, and investor. And he says his...
Haas declares victory. Oh, wow. Haas, what a surprise. Yeah, a trans woman doesn't want you doing transphobia to her all over her timeline. Like, oh, what a victory. Good job. Very alpha behavior.
Accusers of the past are misunderstanding him. Those weren't rug pulls, they were just failed businesses.
So there's a difference between a rug pull, which is a scam, and a failed business. They're just two separate things.
Now, as you hear, Bryan almost sounds credible when you first hear him. He sounds sheepish about the fact that,
in a failed business, you lose money as well as the business owner. Like it would be your business collapses, you may declare bankruptcy, something along that line. You can't meet your fiduciary requirements. That's a failed business. When you get a bunch of people to pour all of their life savings into something and then take millions of dollars out of that and then say, yeah, we're done, that's a rug pull. But what you've done is you scammed the investors and then you've taken all their money and then you keep it for yourself. That's the difference.
I didn't know a lot about business. I didn't have the business acumen for this.
So that didn't work out, unfortunately. It just failed miserably because I didn't have the business acumen to be able to deal with the FUD that was in place.
He emphasizes, look, I'm transparent about my past. I don't have anything to hide.
I'm always transparent and I'm happy to answer any question. Like it's no secret, right, to what happened. So I'm happy to be public about it. That's fine.
This is why it was strange. When I asked him for an interview, he said he only would under the condition that we not talk about his failed projects and had to instead only talk about Safuu. I thought this was strange, so I dug deeper. And it turns out his projects did not simply fail because he was a bad businessman, but instead they were rug pulled and followed a pattern similar to Safuu. For example, his project Clever DeFi was advertised as being unruggable in the FAQ. Why? Because the money was supposed to be safely locked up in the LP, quote, under a time lock mechanism that will allow access to keys only after 12 months. In reality, after 1 month, money was being stolen out of the project under the function remove liquidity. And I asked Bryan about this, and he dodged the question. Instead, he just asked me if I thought he would enjoy prison. Now, I thought this was a pretty strange response. And back when he was actually running the scam, he gave a different answer. He admitted money had been taken out, but said, quote, it is correct analysis, and then said, don't worry, it is not a negative. A portion of LP was reallocated for funding. He said this, quote, LP will be re-added, and that people should be strong and hodl, which is very similar to what SafeMoon said, and in both cases was not true. This LP would not be re-added, and once again directly contradicts what Bryan said was possible with the LP. He said all added liquidity will be locked without key access. And Clever DeFi wasn't the only scam. There's also Fitrova, which was a fitness blockchain coin, which Bryan said had partnerships with people like Anytime Fitness, Planet Fitness, and more. They said so on their website. When these gyms were approached about this partnership, they said it was a lie. Quote, I received your email. We're not partners with Fitrova. We're not associated with Fitrova and are working with our lawyers to take our names off their website. Fitness First is not connected with Fitrova. Now, this token would also tank, but before it did, it was listed on Bryan's new crypto exchange called the Tagz exchange. Later, it would be delisted from it on October 5th, citing a, quote, high security risk. So you're hearing that right. Bryan's exchange delisted Bryan's token for being a high risk. And Fitrova ended as a disaster. But now that he had a new grift going, Bryan moved to this
I don't know if you've seen this. So CoffeeZilla exposed SafeMoon, which is in free fall right now. And SafeMoon, especially a lot of SafeMoon holders, they're in a bad way. They're posting some really cryptic stuff online. Stuff like, I've lost my life savings, my family's leaving me, shit like that. But apparently CoffeeZilla got exposed by the SafeMoon Batman. Batman?
I believe those who manipulate the markets can be met with swift justice if proven. Now I'm curious. Alfred, let's dive into Mr. Latte and see if he himself is a SafeMoon holder. To put forth such a display to only benefit SafeMoon in the long term is something he may have predicted. We need to stay a step ahead of this one and expose his true motivation behind these attacks. What a sick and twisted plot that would be if CoffeeZilla was an unspoken SafeMoon holder himself and used his video to only strengthen his own bag position along with others.
I don't know, Batman. That seems to be quite a strange accusation. I don't know why he would be doing all this work to expose SafeMoon for being scammers if he was a big holder of SafeMoon, because he's probably in a bad way. If he does that, it would probably lower the value of his investment, and he would, like, I don't know. You are the world's greatest detective. I'm not trying to take that away from you, but the logic really doesn't add up here.
This is just a theory, an outlandish one at that. For all the good that came out of his attempt, almost seems intentional. Could this actually be true? Doubtful, but a possibility nonetheless. I leave all options open so I'm not flanked by the unexpected. I believe
the crypto scene is so weird. So, by the way, there's a crypto Batman apparently, and he's a SafeMoon enthusiast, and he hosts SafeMoon streams where he talks about CoffeeZilla. It's a weird world. We live in a strange timeline, everybody. It gets stranger by the day.
Tagz exchange, where he promised people low fees and said his exchange had more volume than even Binance.
Namely Tagz exchange. When I created that, we ran for a good part of a year.
I blame Dr.
We were really
Strange.
successful. We're actually doing a lot more volume than...
Apparently Robert Pattinson is selling NFTs. No. Bad time to get in on the NFT game, as the whole market is in complete and utter free fall, though. I wouldn't look at the bottom of the line and then be like, oh wow, there's potential in this. Let's see what we can pull off. I know that's how the Pope sees it, but then again, the Catholic Church is pretty renowned for making horrendous decisions.
Binance at that time, and the reason we were is because our fees were literally next to nothing. Like, we were making just bugger all, like literally no profit. We're just kind of like free trading fees, I suppose.
Now, Bryan claims he was basically making bugger all with his crypto exchange, but as is a pattern with Bryan, that is not true. In fact, people began reporting that they were not able to withdraw their money from his exchange. Bryan would later shut it down, claiming it was a business failure, that he was making no money from it. In reality, it appears that he was being chased by accusations of fraud. Now, this has all been a preamble to bring us to the main story, Safuu. When I first confronted Bryan about his sketchy past,
get over that name.
I found it interesting that Bryan appeared to have been a fan of me, and he said he liked my SafeMoon investigation, but didn't like the fact that I was now investigating him. But these dodges aren't going to work.
You know what's interesting is I kind of feel sometimes like a lot of these crypto scammers, they work in the same way that like serial killers do, and that they can't resist like just flirting with the police and sending them one too many secret notes, and then all going back to the crime scene and then showing up there and then being like, who are you, sir? It's like, oh, I'm nobody. You know, things like that. Like, why are you reaching out to the person notorious on the internet for calling out scams in the cryptocurrency world if you yourself are involved in a cryptocurrency scam that could wind you up in prison? Like, why would you be like, hey, just want to reach out to you to say that, wink, I know what you know.
Because now that we have a baseline for Bryan's past, we're going to talk about Safuu and the many problems with it. Starting with this outrageous APY. I'm not going to spend a long time with why this is so dumb and absurd. I think actually showing you is better. This is a call with one of their investors. So that should mean that your money at the end of the year, if everything goes according to plan, will be worth millions. You'll be a millionaire after putting in $2,000.
That's the hope.
Now, obviously, that should be all you really need to see, but of course, there are more red flags. Our second red flag is the burn wallet, which Bryan calls the fire pit. Now, burning tokens is a common strategy in crypto, and how it normally works is that you send tokens to a dead wallet that no one has access to so that the supply is reduced. However, when Bryan chose a wallet to burn to, he didn't pick the normal one that everyone uses, but rather used a wallet that he created and has access to, which goes against every single premise of a burn wallet. But you should know, according to him, he pinky promises that he doesn't have access to this thing.
The fire pit wallet, there's obviously being asked a few times if we do have keys to the wallet. So if we've got access to the wallet, the answer is no, categorically no, 100% no. It's impossible to access. We never had the keys to the fire pit wallet in the first place. When we created the wallet, we'd done that on my Ether wallet. So yes, we created it.
But I don't have access to it.
and we created it with a key store file, which means you can download the key store file with a password to access it. We never downloaded it. That file was deleted. So that means that we can't have access to it.
Now, I don't know about you, but this sounds all a little hard to believe. And it's very reminiscent of his clever DeFi token where the keys were untouchable right up until they weren't. And just so you know, this Fire Pit wallet has $32 million of Safuu in it right now. But we're supposed to believe the key store file was deleted. Now, I know many of you are thinking, how could anyone fall for this? Well, as usual, Bryan had an explanation for all this. He told his followers he had to do it this way.
Now, we can't access it. And the reason why it was created that way is because we can't have a auto compounding feature on a dead address. It needs to be a normal wallet in order to have that compounding feature. So that's the reason. So please don't think we can access the wallet, because no, that's not the way the protocol was designed. It's just, it's a limitation of the blockchain to have.
I think that's only 32 million if someone is dumb enough to buy the coin. No, that's the amount of money that they've amassed in real fiat currency. That was the value in US dollars for the amount of Safuu that he has in this supposed burner wallet that he supposedly has no access to.
That wallet, like a normal wallet, able to get that compounding feature. That's all. It's a blockchain limitation. It's not an idea of mine or anybody else. It's just, that's what needs to happen.
Now, it probably won't surprise you guys.
That still needs to be traded for something? Yeah, he would have to turn that Safuu into Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever, right? But the problem is that if he has access to this burner wallet, which he does, and it has that $32 million worth of Safuu in it, and then he does that before anyone else realizes that he's about to do that, then the value of Safuu goes from whatever it is, I don't know what it is traded, to like nothing. Because all of a sudden it's like a huge chunk of real money or just Safuu is being traded rapidly before anyone can catch up and be like, holy shit, my investment.
But this is not correct. Turns out it was an idea of Bryan's, and it's not a limitation of the blockchain at all. He could have done it with a dead wallet, a fact that even his own admins confirm. So this live burn wallet created by Bryan Legend, he said that the reason he created
if this is the competition, I need to become a grifter. That's what I think every time I watch one of these. I'm like, so many of these people are just clowns who are so foolish about what they're doing. They're doing it out in the open, and they're just like, well, yeah, I think if I put $2,000 into this idea, I can reap millions. And turns out it's true. Like, what the fuck?
That way was the wallet had to be live. You couldn't actually create it you can't rebase it if it's dead. And the question is that true?
It has come out that is not true.
So the question is, who believes this stuff? I mean, the guy literally set up a burn wallet that he controls that has $32 million in it, and the community is just supposed to believe that he deleted his password. It's so absurd that, again, like, this is why it was kind of, I didn't want to cover it at first. I was like, nobody's going to fall for this stuff. But after talking to investors, it gets a lot worse. This guy says that it's all about trust. He created the wallet, but he didn't download the key store file. Do you know how easy it would be to lie about something like that?
Yeah, it would be extremely easy. There's no doubt about it. It just boils down to trust.
Now, this investor into Safuu, who's also a admin, should really know better than trusting people blindly. It came out that he had invested in both SafeMoon and Piggy tokens. Decisions he now admits were mistakes.
Real words.
Oh, trust me. I know. And I will never involve myself into a sketchy, shady project.
I can program you anything for the Serf.
I realize, from an outside perspective, you do a lot of investigations into SafeMoon, but know this. I got pretty hard with SafeMoon, then I got again with Piggy Bank.
So why are you involved in Safuu then?
Because I've done my research and it's a legitimate project.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Well, there you go.
God.
That's the mentality of these scams. No matter how much evidence, no matter how obvious the fraud, or if they've been through frauds before, sometimes holders will believe right up until the very end that this project is different. Even now, Bryan is trying to spin the narrative with his followers, saying that the reason he won't respond to my very basic questions are that I have, quote, offended him by using the words shady dealings, and that's why he blocked me, not because he couldn't answer questions about his previous scams. Now, as for the future of Safuu, I predict that it will continue to make money as long as they can find more suckers. However, all Ponzi-like schemes do come to an end, and this one will be no different. Bryan will abscond with millions of dollars while most of his followers end up with little to nothing. And he will move on, citing Safuu
But
as yet
keep
another
investing.
business in his past that failed for seemingly no reason. Thanks for watching. Pump the stock, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, it never fails to make me be like, what the ever-loving fuck is going on? How do people pour that much money into something that is so clearly a scam? Like, I don't even need that expose. If someone was just like, so I want you to invest in something, cool, what's it called? Safuu. What is it? A digital token. I created a burner wallet for safety. I don't have access to it. And you want me to pour money into this? Okay. I don't know. I'm not feeling very safe, Foo. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we are prepared to embark on a mighty jihad in your name. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your humble jester, attempting in vain to get you to laugh. To our valiant knights of the Round Table, Benji Arnie, Tech Tink, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Mayred, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood. It doesn't matter what I believe, it only matters what I can prove. Egbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Vivienne McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Coulter Smith, Jenna Tao, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevbot, EXE, Brian Ephraim, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojack, Saren 42, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Agent NDN, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We raise our mugs and salute our brave heroes off to another glorious conquest.